All right. So, had a couple of technical issues with the previous video um, for this lesson, but that's okay. What I want to do, and I'll just give like an overview based off where the video cut off. Start there, and then we'll continue with this. So we have our build cards function that we're working on. Okay, and I think where I left off here was building out this card. Okay, um, and I have the document create element div. So I like to give my elements, well, my variables, I like to give them names based on what they represent. So here, this card is a div, and it uses I'll be using the class card, so that's why I named it card. Um, but I can uh, I have the repository in the first video, so you'll be able to have the code and catch up if you need to. If not, you can kind of pause the video at different points, like right now, and get everything that I have here so far. So if you need to pause the video and type copy this stuff down, go ahead and do that. All right, and then and have a little bit more here. So basically, what we're doing is we are building out the card structure in JavaScript. Okay, and I know that I can use the inner HTML method. I'd rather not do it that way. I prefer to build it out piece by piece, like so. Uh, and in doing this, it give me the opportunity to use, say, a ternary operator if I need to handle conditionals, to say, okay, if this property exists, then do something. Otherwise, don't do anything at all. And we may get to that. Um, Probably will get to that at some point. This is going to be a series of videos, so I don't want you to feel like too overwhelmed. You could take it apart piece by piece. Anyways, so this is all the information I have here. Again, like I said, you can pause it anytime to get it. This is all inside of the build cards function. And then the very last thing that I did just to test it out, just to see what it looks like so far, is I'm calling the function build cards, and I'm passing in the very first object, which is in the heroes array. That's why you see heroes 0 right here to call the very first one. And when I look at what I have, it looks like this here. Okay. All right, cool. So now that I have that, I want to get some more information to display on the card. So I need the powers. And so what I want to do, powers is an array. And so I'm going to need to list all of those powers out. I'm going to do that before I pin any children. So right here, I'm going to make a comment here. Just say this is where we're going to pin the children. All right. And so everything above this is going to be us actually building out the card. Okay. So next thing I want to do is get the powers, okay, for this object. So I need to go to this property. Powers is, when I look at powers, it is an array of strings of all these different powers. So what I'm going to need to do is first I need to make a UL, and I'm going to call it a UL is just an unordered list. So I'm going to name this powers list. So I'm going to say const powers list. It's going to get document dot create element. I'm going to make a UL, an unordered list. Again, you can watch older videos to see what a UL is and what's the difference between a UL and an OL. So I got my UL right here, and I'm going to say powers list dot class list dot add. I can make this a list group, so I'll say list dash group, and I think that'll work. I could also use list unstyled if I want to, but I think I'm just going to go with list group. I think this will give me what I want. Okay. And now what I want to do is I'm going to do a loop inside of this object and say, hey, for each power in the powers list, make an li, add list group item class, and then append it to powers list. Okay. So I'm going to say for, and I'm going to use a for of loop. So I'm going to say let power of, and I can say object.powers. And what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to say const li is going to get document.create element li. So I'm going to create an li for each one of them. And I could also use a for each loop if I wanted to, but I'm going to go with the for of loop just because I like to get more practice with things that I'm not as familiar with. I'm way more familiar with a for each loop, and I can do it pretty smoothly in a for each loop. So instead, I say, you know what? Let me use something I'm not as accustomed to using. So const li gets document.create element by ID. Oh, that doesn't belong there. Create element, create an li, and then I could say li dot class list dot add, and I will say list dash group dash item. Okay, and then I can say li dot inner text is going to get power. And then lastly, what I will do is I will say powers list dot append child. I'm going to append the li. That's happening inside the loop. Okay. And so now what should happen is I'm going to append the powers list to the card body, and we should see the powers. And so let's see here. I would do that right here. I'm going to say card body dot append child powers list. And look at there. Cool. And I want to say with the list group, I think I can add, I think it's list group flush as well. I don't think I can just say list group flush. No, that's not going to do it. I need to say list group and then list group dash flush. Yeah, there we go. And what I'll do is for the powers, I'll say, or we could do this. Above the powers list, we can append, so we can have like a little small label to say, okay, this is what they are. Let's do this. Let's say, I'll do it right here because I want to have some kind of order so we can see just how things are listed. I'll say const powers label is going to get document dot create element, and I'll just use an H3. And then I'll say powers label dot class list dot add text dash upper capitalize, and I also use, I'll say text dash danger, and then here I will say powers label dot inner text, and I will set that to be the string powers. All right, cool. And so I'm going to append this H3 before I append the power list. So I'll come back over here and I'll say card body dot append child powers label. And there it is right there. Cool. Right on. And so with the class list with the powers, I'm thinking, you know, why not capitalize it? So I could also say, come here and say text dash. I'll use text dash uppercase. Let's see what that looks like. No, but you see what it does? It capitalizes everything here. I'll just go with text dash capitalize. Cool. All right. So that's the powers. Let's see what we can do next. We can do the team. So I'm thinking in the footer, the card footer, I'll do the franchise and when they first appeared. So we'll do a team, team, and then rivals. So that would look the same way as we did here with the powers. So I'll say const team label or teams label. It's going to get document dot create element. This will also be in H3. I'll say teams label dot class list dot add text capitalize, and I use text primary for this. And I'll say teams label dot inner text. It's going to get teams. All right. Looks the same way as we did with the powers. So I got that. Now I need to make my list. So I'm going to say const teams list. It's going to get document dot create element. And I obviously could just copy and paste and then just make changes that I need to. But I always like to lean on the side of let me type this thing out in full as much as I can, because I want to not only get my fingers comfortable with the typing, but it helps me to understand exactly what I'm doing. And I think one time doing something is not going to be enough. Okay. But what I am going to do is I'm going to do a for each loop instead of for of loop for this one, just to change things up a little bit. And so I'm going to say object.teams.for each, just to show you we could do it differently. So I'm going to take each team, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to create an li. So const li is going to get document.create element li, li.class list dot add list group dash item, and text capitalize, li dot inner text is going to get team, and then I'll say teams list dot append child li. So this is doing the same thing as this for of loop, but I'm just showing how we can do this in different ways. Okay, because there's always again a way with very little the ways. Okay, so here we go. This is going to loop through each team in the team's uh, array, create an li, add those classes, and then append the team. Well, add the text, add the team to the li, and then append it to the team's list. And now I got that. Now I should be able to come over here and just like I did with the powers label, I should be able to say um, card body dot append child teams label, and then card body dot append child teams list. And it looks like we have an error here. Let's see, what's the error? Cannot read properties of undefined for each at build cards. So it doesn't like that. And why don't you like it? Oh yeah, it is because we're targeting teams instead of team. Yeah, you're correct. So I'm going to change that to team, and I'm going to change this to item so I won't have any confusion. And there we go. Cool, good catch. All right, and now I want to do the rivals. Okay, so we can do this. Well, we can do the exact same thing just to speed it. I'm showing you how we can do it. I'm going to speed it up by just copying and pasting, and then I'm going to add. No, I'm not going to do that. So we got, is it rival or rivals? Rivals with an S. I should have made all these teams. But anyways, that would have helped me out a lot. Rivals. Okay. And what I want to do is I'm going to say, const rivals list. Going to get document.create element. This is also going to be a UL. Well, I need the label first. Const rivals label. Going to get document.create element. This is also an H3. And then I'm going to say rivals label dot class list dot add. Text capitalized. And I'll also use text primary for this as well. And then I'll say rivals label dot inner text. It's going to get rivals. All right, cool. Got that out of the way. All right, now I can work on this list. I will say rivals list dot class list dot add. I'm going to add list dash group, and going to add list dash group dash flush. And then I will say again, rivals. Oh, yeah, no. I'm going to say object dot rivals dot for each. Take each rival. And you could do a for loop. You could do a for of loop. You could do a for each. it's going to work either which way. Const li document dot create element, create an li dot class list dot add list group dash item, text capitalized, li dot inner text. It's going to get rival, and then I would say rivals list dot append child li. Then I come down here and I'm going to say card body dot append child rivals label and card body dot append child rivals list. And there we go. So a couple things, and I don't want to take anybody too fast as I'm working through this. Okay. But when you're working like this, doing something, a task, and I can see that I am repeating the same steps over again. For example, the rivals list is working the same as the teams list, is working the same as the powers list. All of those are being handled the same. So if I'm doing that and I recognize that, then what I would want to do instead is break this up into a function, pull that function out, abstract the function, and then make the function call based on whatever arguments I have. So, for example, uh, what I could do instead is, and I'm not going to do it all the way out, but I could, come up here and say um, const make list, okay, and it would take an element, which would be like the DOM element, and it would take an array, okay, and then I could say um, array dot for each. So for each item in the array, I could say, const li is going to get document dot create element. I just might do this all the way out. Li dot class list dot add. This be what list group dash item, and also text capitalized. All right, and then I could say li dot inner text would get item, and then I would say l dot append child li, because basically they're all doing the same thing, right? They're all doing the same thing, and then what I could do is, like, say for example, where I have the powers list right here, and so instead of doing this for each loop right here for powers, I'm gonna comment that out, and I can say right here, make list, pass in powers list, and then pass in object dot powers. and it does it. It takes care of it. So now, as you can see here, this is going to shorten this up so I can, and I might as well, now that we see what it's doing, I might as well just come over here and remove this. So my teams label, I got my teams label there. I got my teams list made up. I can comment out this for each loop right here. And I could say make list, pass in the teams list, and pass in object dot team. The teams get listed. And with the rivals, same thing. I can comment out this rivals and say make list, pass in the rivals list, and object dot rivals. And there the rivals are listed. So that's and I'll leave this one up here just to see. I mean, I don't have to do it. Uh yeah, I don't have to leave that up there, but this is much quicker as you can see. Um and that's the beauty of functions, is that we can take those functions out, take out this task, abstract it like we have right here by not giving any specific names, and then running the function wherever we want to, wherever we need to, and it handles the task for us. Okay, so that's cool. I'll leave this one up just cause. Um, but there. All right, so we got that done, and now what I want to do is I want to make my card footer, and I want to list the franchise, list the species, and their first appearance. Okay. And so we'll do that right here. This will be the last thing I think we'll do in this video. I'm going to say const card footer is going to get document.create element. This is also going to be a div. Card footer dot class list dot add. It's going to be card dash footer. This is a bootstrap class. I will say I'll keep this one simple. I'll say card footer dot inner HTML is going to get, and I'm going to do backticks, and I'm going to make a p tag right here. I'll give it a class. I'll say card. Oh, this needs to be quotes. Card dash text. Matter of fact, let me put this on another line, like so it'll be a little more readable. So here, and I'll say species, the colon, and then I'll do a dollar sign right here, and I'll say object dot species. Close up this p tag. Yep. I'll do another p tag, class card dash text. Franchise, and this will be object dot franchise. And then one more, p class card dash text, and say first appearance. And I'm here, I'm going to say object dot uh, first appearance dot get month plus one dash, no dash, I'll do a space, object dot first appearance dot get year, and then close up, close this p tag, and then we need to append the card footer onto the card, not the card body. So I'll get all that, and then I'll come over here to card. I'll do that right below the card body. I'll say card dot append child card footer, and there it is down there. Ooh, that's a huge card. A lot of information there. So yeah, this is what we want it to look like. I mean, we could obviously remove some things if you want to. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna come over here and fix this first appearance. I'll put a dash in between, or put like a slash there. So now 763. Okay, so that works. Or if I say get full year, maybe if I say get full year, yeah, there we go. 7/1963. There we go. So July 1963. Yeah, there's we could do this any kind of way, right? And right now this is just about the styling and understanding how we can load information onto the browser, okay? And so we got something that works. We have a working model. If you don't like the model, you can change it. You can remove information if you want to. Um, like I said, if you want to go and figure out how to do pictures and stuff, you can add pictures, images, whatnot on there. I'm not too concerned with that right now. I just want to get something loaded up. And just for maintenance, a couple of things I'm gonna do is on my card, where are you card? Right here, I'm gonna add a class H-100 because that's something I know I'm gonna need later. Okay, so cool. We got a card. It's loaded on the browser. It works. So now what we'll do starting in the next video is we're going to figure out how we can call this function for every single item in the array. Okay, so we'll have a we'll start off by loading all of the cards, okay, on the browser. And after we get that, then we've got a good portion of it done, and we'll have to go and make some minor adjustments in our logic, and again, kind of abstract some of the functionality that we have here. Uh, but it'll, I think you'll be proud of yourself um, after we get done with this. So yeah, if you want to continue with this, just we'll be working on this in the next video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the other stuff. And again, I apologize for the technical issues that we had, even though I shouldn't be apologizing because not me that did it, but I will on behalf of the internet. uh, but yeah, and I'm also going to uh, push this up to my repository. So again, you can kind of track where I'm going with each version. And I will see you in the next video.